Oh, hi, James. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you?
Good. The first time we met, you were a farmer
I was
in
it.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Tell me, how was farmer's life? What were you doing before? Or a bit of yourself.
Cool. Well, yeah. I did a business degree at
Okay.
uni. Um, Graduated from there, and I was like, right, what do I want to do? I'd done like a lot of journalism and stuff, like sports journalism, while I was doing my degree. And then I was like, actually, like, I'd had this thing in the back of my mind that I always kind of wanted to try farming. I thought, oh, maybe I'll do it like one day when I'm old or something. But then I worked in an office for like a couple of months, and I was like, oh, this is not for me. Um, so when I was doing that, I started doing weekends or like on a farm, like a beef farm in Gloucestershire, just to kind of get some experience, see if I enjoyed it. And then I just took to like a duck to water. So I was working 7 days a week, so 5 days in an office, 2 days doing my weekends on this beef farm. And then they offered me a full time job. So yeah, after leaving uni, I was like managing like an award winning beef farm and like a stud, so like bulls, the breeding bulls. So that was really cool. And then we moved to Scotland because my wife is Scottish, and her parents have got a farm and like needed some help. So yeah, we moved to Scotland. Uh, uh, Dumfries and Galloway, so like super rural, like uh, any horror film fans, it's where they filmed like Wicker Man, like back in the 70s, and it's very much like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so moved there and was kind of went to help with the cows, and there wasn't really enough work, and I was like managing a beef farm 5 days a week. So then I just thought, oh, I'll just get some sheep. Like I'm Welsh, I'll just get some sheep. So yeah, we bought like a handful of sheep, and it just kind of went from there. Then. So I fell into being a shepherd, and I was driving, all over the UK doing like contract work and managing a flock on the farm. So we had like 200 sheep at one point. Um, and I think along with that, kind of working in farming, working in agriculture, and wanting to know like where your food comes from, traceability was a big thing. But I was drinking coffee every day, and I was like, I knew nothing about it. Like I didn't know where it came from, so I was like, oh okay, maybe I should learn a bit more about coffee. Uh, and then that was that. I went down the wormhole. Uh, yeah, and then I bought a bag of Union Brazil. It was a Bobo Link Brazil off a shelf in Whole Foods in Edinburgh when they had one, or Glasgow, wherever the Whole Foods was in Scotland. I just picked off this bag, and that was it. It was like had all these words on it, like washed and natural, and I was like, what does this all mean? So yeah, just kind of fell in the wormhole there really.
How long were you a farmer? How many years were you doing that?
Just short of about 10 years till I like stopped doing any farming really.
Okay.
So yeah.
And why? Why did you decided to stop?
Like a big thing was my mental health. Uh, I'd always struggled with my brain, like from a teenager, like a lot of people. But then like the isolation, like the financial stresses and stuff of working in agriculture, and like just the stresses of working in agriculture, living somewhere like I didn't really know anybody, very isolated. Like it all just kind of um, just kept getting too much. So uh, wasn't really something I dealt with. Like I was a man, I grew up playing rugby, I was just fine. Like it just wasn't something that was talked about. So like I just was like I need to just shoulder this, deal with it, ignore it, and that didn't work. Like probably, by the end of it, I was quite unwell. Um, so I was looking for alternative things to do, either just like to get out of farming or like just to alleviate some of the pressure of it, wanting to do more to give back because I got help when I needed it. And I thought I did a bit of like I did my SA like foundation barista and brewing just out of an interest point of view.
And then you were still farming. And
Yeah, still
you
farming.
Just got really interested in coffee.
Yeah, because I was drinking it every day. It was
Yes.
like the one maybe like 10 minutes of a day
Yeah.
where I could just switch off, like whether it was like brewing a 360 or like dialing in like an espresso or something, like, or even just like making a stovetop.
So it was kind of like a ritual, like a
Yeah,
part of your
it-
life that was
yeah.
breaking reality.
Yeah, and it gave me like, it was a woman, I didn't have to think about like
Yeah.
medicines or like what was dying or dead or like, it was just like, so I started just getting a bit more into it. Did my SEA brewing and barista foundations just like as a home barista.
Okay.
And then I thought, oh, maybe I could like release like a coffee. I could work with somebody to do a coffee.
Yeah.
That could raise a bit of money, like for mental health charity, just to give back and like to just talk about something, and that would be a one-off. And I did that, and that's where we
Yes.
met.
Yes.
We launched the Edinburgh Coffee Festival.
Yes.
On the table next to me.
Yes.
And it all kind of went from there.
That was like 6-7 years ago now, right?
2019. That was it.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah, World Mental Health Day 2019. We like released the coffee, so we kind of soft launched it at Edinburgh. Yeah.
Because you were donating,
Yeah,
I
so
think a pound for every bag
Yeah.
you sold.
Yeah. So, and then as that grew, it was like 10% of everything we did, like profits and stuff, we would donate. We worked with like a bunch of different charities and stuff. And
For mental health
Yeah.
specifically.
yeah. So
What did your wife say? Because you moved to Scotland to
Yeah.
farm, and then you said, "I don't want to be a farmer anymore.
Yeah.
I want to do coffee."
yeah, I think she was probably quite glad.
Okay.
Because like when we were farming, it was great that we go to work together and spend time together, and like, but also it was like hard. It was hard going. Like I wasn't well.
Yeah.
That was why I went to get help, really, because I could see that if I didn't, like, our relationship was probably going to go down the can.
This is very interesting because you are one of the few people that have seen the farming lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so farming coffee, even though it's not a livestock, it's a plant,
Mm.
it has a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
So things that you mentioned things like medicines or like fertilizers for farmers, as the financial stress.
Yeah.
We all feel that
Yeah.
isolation because usually farms are in the middle of nowhere. That's where you grow things.
Mm-hmm.
So I will come back to that point.
Yeah.
But I want to touch that you took the SCA courses.
Yeah.
Out of your own money. You pay for them because
Mhm.
they're pricey.
Yeah. They are. Yeah.
And where do you took them? You took them in Scotland, in England?
Yeah, I did a couple at the Scottish Barista Academy. They were my first two.
Okay.
Then I decided I wanted to do more, especially as I was like now starting to like work in coffee, and I was very much on my own. It was an area with no or minimal specialty coffee experience. There was nowhere to work, like, so I had to just go and learn.
Yeah.
So then I started to go to the London School of Coffee
Okay.
and working with them.
And you were paying
Yeah.
for all this stuff. So
Yeah. I paid. By the end of it, I funded myself through all my foundation and my intermediate degree.
and in money wise, did you have a ballpark number? A couple of grand?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, I was very lucky that like I got a relationship with the people who I was like training with at LSC. So like if someone dropped out short
You just
last minute, they were like, "Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
We can help you out.
That's
We can
pretty
knock a
good.
bit of quid off it." So that helped. It went a long way. But yeah, like on like training and professional development, yeah, a lot of money. And it like that's the thing with coffee.
Yes.
It's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive business to be in. Like if you want to spend money on like education stuff, it's like the essay is not cheap.
And do you think those courses help you in a way, or do you think you could have gained that knowledge from your own at some point?
I think like everybody can learn. You can learn by working. You can learn by doing. Like absolutely. I think for me, the thing I got out of it, being so isolated from an industry perspective, doing the foundation ones were either I would learn a bit, but a lot of it was just reassuring me that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I knew I was. Also, I also wanted to work in coffee, so I think that's the issue. Is a lot of people are looking for whether it's you're working in the bar or people want people who've got SEA
Experience.
accredited courses behind them. So like, it's not. That's the challenge. You can be the most experienced, but like for people looking to take you on for a job, they're looking for
Those.
the certificate,
Yes.
whether rightly or wrongly. Like that's part and parcel of it. There's the SEA are the ones who do the accredited, the certificates, the courses. now they're the only people, which I know like recently has been quite a controversial thing.
Yeah.
So there's an element of what's the alternative if you want to learn or want to do education or you feel that you need to do it. You got to pay that SCA money.
No. To be honest, I mean, for me, the way that I see it is very important that you went through all that training because
Yeah.
then you have a strong foundation.
Yeah,
And it's important because if there's farmers seeing this episode, they're gonna see that people here they also have a lot of knowledge of what's
Yeah.
happening,
Mhm.
and it's not just word; it's actually a lot of theory.
yeah.
And most of the times, I feel that we know as much as the farmers.
Mm.
Maybe we're not working on the fields, but there's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of books that explain the whole
Yeah.
process.
Mhm.
So. And that takes me back to when we met because you had a genie cafe, right? You were roasting a genie cafe. Or
Yeah. That's what I started on.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
uh,
And as I grew, kind of did some white label stuff to try and like a scale
yeah,
because again, coffee's expensive.
Yes.
Try and invest in equipment.
and
It's hard. It's expensive.
and you still have the genie cafe, or
No, I sold the G Cafe, and we eventually moved on to a bullet.
okay?
So we're boosting on that, which I've also sold mainly because now I work and have for like the last 2 years worked in like a roastery settings. Like if you're
Okay.
roasting like 600 kilos a week of you don't want to go and roast on that.
Yeah,
Roast in your spare time. So
Yeah,
the bullet found a new home with like now like a cafe roastery where we used to live. So they've taken on the mantle
Oh.
of
That's nice.
doing specialty coffee in the southwest of Scotland. So
That's very
it's
nice.
cool.
That's nice. So you were farming, took the courses, you
Yeah.
found that you really like it. You
Yeah.
start getting into it. You bought a genie cafe.
Yeah.
Start roasting.
Yeah.
Get into a bullet. But then there was there was a jump from doing your own thing
Yeah.
with a bullet to
Yeah.
working in a professional setting in
Yeah,
an
yeah.
already set company.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that? What happened there?
I think so. Obviously, the big issue with when I started and got into it was timing.
Yeah.
Like COVID happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So things had to kind of go on a back burner because we were really reliant on like events, really reliant on farmers markets. So like stuff that was just disrupted, they would start, like, and just like the nature of where we lived, like there came a point where like, right, world is settled down again. Like I'm gonna, like, do we make a real go for this now? And like, coffee had just changed so much. The prices had gone through the roof of coffee, but also like packaging. Like everything had gone through the roof after COVID.
This
So-
is 2022?
Yeah, 22, 23. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we're like, right, we can go, make a go for this. Where we are. And I couldn't see it working. We were a rural place. You know, Dumfries and Galloway is quite disadvantaged. Like, so the costs that we would have to charge, like, I just didn't see it being realistic and sustainable. So I was like, okay, right, I've done all this. I'll go and try and find a job.
Were you farming in the meantime?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole time I was still
Okay.
doing like farm work.
And the farm work, did it got affected with COVID? Or
Yeah, so like I lost quite a lot, or like stopped doing bits because you couldn't go on to you couldn't go on to farms, you couldn't go on to, or like by the nature of what I did,
Yeah.
I would help people maybe who were like kind of a bit older, so they couldn't do all the work themselves and stuff. So I would
Yeah.
go in and like help people do big jobs. So they were like at-risk people, and like so you just couldn't kind of go on driving around all these different areas with like different COVID restrictions. And, so yeah, like farm work was affected during COVID. Yeah,
Okay.
also farming just has to keep going. So, but,
And you started looking for a job, and who hired you?
so I got offered like a few different jobs, like, and like for various reasons, like they didn't feel like the right thing because it's quite a big thing to move.
Yeah.
And then I took a job as a production assistant at Red Bank in the Lakes.
Just to pause you there. That's 2. I just drove here.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, it was 2.5 hour drive from the farm. Yeah.
And you were just applying, and
Yeah.
you said, "Sure,
Yeah.
great, I'll drive every day there." Or
Well, pretty much, yeah. We're like, right. So I applied, and when I got an interview, I was doing like events barista work for Origin
okay,
at the time, and they put in like a good word for me and stuff while I was there, so that was good. I think that probably went like a long way to like getting me like an interview and stuff.
Okay.
Like, because a lot of it is like who you know and not what you know necessarily, like in all industries. So yeah, so just went and did an interview and got offered the job, like as a production assistant. So, and I was like, Red Bank got a really good reputation, like feels like a really good opportunity, like let's go for it. Let's try and move off the farm and somewhere new.
Yeah.
But obviously trying to find a house with 2 dogs because we kept my sheep dogs. They're happily retired. Finding somewhere with dogs took a bit longer, and finding somewhere to live took a bit longer. And so yeah, I was driving down. Essentially, I was working part time, so I was driving down 3 days a week.
Okay, and you were staying here to sleep, or you were coming back?
No, I was driving back. 2.5 hours. Get here for like 8:30, 9, and then I would finish my day about 3:30, 4. And then I would drive back up to Scotland. And like sometimes I was then going to like cattle sheds to like do like farm work.
I'm loving this interview because we listen to your story. I just hear passion, putting a lot of money to get the courses, even though you had no position in it, no one sponsored you.
Yeah.
You love the coffee. You got a job 3 hours away, and you were driving and coming back.
Yeah.
But that just shows that you had a lot of passion for coffee, basically.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question. You jumped from a 1 kilogram bullet to a loring, right?
Yeah,
That's what
15 kilo loring, yeah.
Do you think that everything you learned in the bullet could be transferred to a loring, or was it a completely different world? You have to learn again.
Completely different world, completely different type of rooster, completely different, we were using like Cropster. I was like,
whoa.
Well, I wasn't even Cropster on my bullet. So yeah, it's completely different world, completely different like scale.
Yeah.
Like Red Bank, some weeks we're doing like over a challenge a week.
Yeah.
15 kilo batches, 8 kilo batches, like production days, like it's completely different like experience.
Yeah. And when you were buying coffee for yourself with the bullet, what do you learn in terms of, because there's the way that I see it, machinery is a huge part of coffee.
Yeah.
What the coffee itself, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So technology, and loring has a different price point than bullet, completely different price. Same with greens, and you as a roaster, you were not choosing what to buy, but could you see the difference in quality, or they were all kind of the same when you're roasting a washed coffee from X origin versus a natural coffee from another origin? Was it the same approach, or do you feel that quality play a huge role in the way that you roasted those coffees?
Yeah, quality, just the more you learn about it, just the elevation process, like you just have to treat everything completely differently. Like a Brazil, like a natural Brazil that's been mechanically harvested probably at like lower altitudes for the Arabica kind of where Arabica's grown.
Yeah.
Compared to like a high grown like African coffee, just like.
And you were adjusting the roast.
Yeah. And just trying to learn,
Yeah.
And then when I kind of got into Red Bank, like again, it's the different, all sorts of different kinds of coffees, like processing, quality, like price point. And learning how to get the best out of these individual coffees was like a big learning curve, yeah.
And do you feel that, let's just talk about Brazil coffee, for instance, they have different qualities inside of the country.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that rainbow of qualities and that rainbow of countries as well makes it a bit hard, because you are placing yourself in a higher end origin with either lower coffee. And that's what I'm trying to understand is, when you get a new coffee, because you couldn't buy the coffee, because you were just roasting whatever was thrown at you.
Yeah, or whatever I can get.
Yes. How do you if you walk me through one of the days?
Yeah.
They say, look, James, here's a bag of X.
Yeah.
Natural clothing. Go for it. So what do you do?
I learned probably like a lot by like trial and error.
Okay.
But you get to know like how things are going to behave. Like it's very much like reps and experience. Like you learn when you're roasting to analyze what's happening in the roaster.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like Brazil's a perfect example. Like, and I think it's probably one that Brazil has a rep of producing a certain type of coffee.
Okay.
And it's like, this is the price point. This is all it does. It's like chocolate. It's nuts. but actually like within the absolute vast array of coffee you can get in Brazil, like now, especially having been to Brazil and visited farms and producers, like in somewhere like the Minas, like that's completely alien for Brazil. Like it's high altitude, it's hand picked. Like there's so much variety in there. Like it's like phenomenal. And Brazil can be so much more than Brazil.
Yes.
It's but yeah, it's.
And you had a sample roaster there.
No, like, but the bullet was.
There was kind of
when I was roasting the bullet, you were roasting a kilo, so
yes.
you were like, okay, if I'm gonna mess with this, worst case scenario, I can drink it nice.
Yeah.
You know, so you learn, but yeah, balance learn by trial and error and just trying to get experience
and other foundations that you took, do they play a role in roasting coffee in a commercial setup?
Yeah, I think having done a foundation, really, that was quite an old way to do it. Foundation roasting was one of the last things I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you get to learn. Okay, like this is a good way to start. This is a starting point. It's a rough recipe. You can do it, and you get an idea of like, okay, like this is showing me what the coffee can be. You know, you try to maybe you'll pull some bits out of the dryer to certain temperatures and times to just get an idea of it. The bullet was really good because you were doing it in like a size that you could learn as you went.
Yeah.
Like you can't make too many mistakes. So like I learned a lot. But then at Red Bank, they had a head roaster who was writing the profiles. I was just doing some production roasting as well. So like you learn in, okay, this is how somebody with like more experience would do it. Like it's like, okay, right. Then you learn, okay, every harvest and things gonna be different. But if you've roasted and are happy with roasting a natural Rwanda, for instance, once, that's good. You learn like
some characteristics, some
kind of just like a good starting point. So like the way you can treat coffees and like how you as you become more experienced and more knowledgeable and have worked with more coffees, you have like a good starting point. You've got a rough idea as opposed to okay, right, this is probably how this is going to behave. This is how I would treat it, and then you can make like tiny adjustments. You're not kind of going in blind. Which when I started listening to Vang, was good.
And then talking about Rinaldo,
yeah,
you moved here 6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah.
So you did the whole journey from not knowing anything about coffee, taking the classes, starting roasting at home, jumping to a setup, and now what's your position here, Rinaldo?
So I'm the roaster and coffee manager.
Okay.
So I share the roasting with Jane, who owns the business.
Yeah.
We both kind of do and can roast. And then I kind of take more of a lead on like the green coffee blend because that's where my like real interest and my passion and stuff is green coffee.
Okay.
So for the last 6 months I've kind of been learning to roast on like a completely different kind of machine.
Yeah.
On a Gießen, which is like traditional as it can come.
Yeah.
So getting to grips with that, as well as like trying to understand like a new business, which is a very different kind of business. It's very customer facing, direct to consumer. We have an espresso bar in the roastery that's open to the public. So we're serving drinks. We can have like face to face conversations with people. Like it's a completely different kind of business that I've worked in. And obviously now I'm buying green coffee at a much bigger scale than I've ever bought green coffee before. And what time to
And what's the largest responsibility, or maybe the word would be pressure, you feel buying green coffee?
I think, I've come in to buy coffee for an existing business that has an established customer base. So, you have to like, maybe you might come in and say, I think we should be doing this or buying these coffees, but like, you also have the pressure of an existing customer base that is happy, that comes in, that tells you face to face if they like it or not, which is great. So yeah, there's quite a lot of pressure in trying to like maybe put your stamp on it, but also like you always have an existing customer base to keep happy. Like I'm not a new roastery. Like I'm not like this is how I do it.
Yeah.
I have to like buy within like set financial constraints. Like I have to make sure we have coffees that are accessible. Like it's a real I have a house espresso blend,
Yeah.
which I'd never worked before. Like, I always did single O's.
Yes.
Red Bank was very much a single origins led business. So, like, having to buy, like, the logistical headache of buying a blend and having to change a blend because of, like, encountering things like delays, like just the coffees that had been in the house blend for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years just didn't exist. Like, it's still, as far as I know, it's still in El Salvador.
Yeah.
So, like, so having to, like, do things like that. So make changes to a blend, but, like, keep a flavor profile consistent. Like, stuff like that is a real challenge.
And a question for you: how open is your customer base for change? Can you say to them, "I can have this Salvadorian coffee that I was using"?
Yeah.
I'll reframe this. Can you say to them, "This coffee tastes similar"?
Mm.
Would they ask what's made of?
Um,
Or if it's a similar coffee, would just be okay? Or would you say, "Look, we don't have Salvadorian one.
Yeah.
We have a
yeah.
Costa Rican one. That's
Yeah.
a great substitute."
Yeah.
How will you approach that? How open are they for change?
Yeah, everyone's been fine. Like, we just told them.
Okay.
And I think you can't like underestimate your customer. Like, you've just got to say, anyone who's asked, we've just told them, like, the house blend Casa has changed. This is why it's changed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but I like the El Salvador. And I'm like, yeah, we like the El Salvador, but I can't get it.
Yeah.
Like, when I came here, they'd been waiting months. And, a couple of months after, with me chasing it, being like, this coffee, I haven't got much left.
Yeah.
When's it coming? Like, then, the importer hadn't even had pre-shipment sample.
Yeah.
So,
and
like,
they gave you a reason why it's not coming, or?
And they were just waiting on the producer to send it. That's what
Okay.
they told me. So then I'm like, I've got to pull the trigger. I've got to have a house espresso.
Yes.
So we changed it. Like, we cut coffees that were going to fit the price point, because that's the thing with a house espresso is when it's got a fit, price point. We cut coffees. It was from a producer that I knew from pre-existing, like, relationships and stuff. So we just did it, like, because we didn't have any other choice.
And that's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about house blends, that's a price point sensitivity.
Yes.
More than taste.
Yeah.
And when it's the other coffees, you're talking about taste more than price.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you were substituting this Salvador coffee,
yeah,
I guess that you requested samples that fit a price range.
Yeah.
And had a similar profile, and then you chose it, or?
Yeah, so for me, anyway, I like to work where I can, relationships I've talked about a lot in specialty coffee. But I think some of the best relationships you can have, and some of the best relationships I've had, and like some of the best things that have had an impact on me in my career and stuff, has been building good relationships with importers.
Yeah.
And if you can build a relationship with an importer, that you can go, because, like, these things, no matter how well planned and how, like, relationship buying focused you are, especially at the minute with, like, the way coffee is, climate change, the geopolitical landscape, stuff happens.
Yeah.
Stuff gets delayed. Stuff disappears.
Yes.
Stuff doesn't, like, turn up. Like, to be able to build relationships where you can get on the phone to your trader or an importer and be like, this is what I need. Like, I need some help.
Yes.
They know you. They know your business. They know your price point. They know kind of what you're looking for. And that's what it is. Like, I've built a relationship with D.R. Wakefield from, like, getting to go to Origin with them and like working with them closely when I was in my previous job. We got allocated a trader at DR that I knew. I'd met them before. So I was like, this is what I need. I need 50 sacks of coffee for our espresso blend. I need it fairly soon. This is what I'm looking at. This is my price point, my flavor profile. And they sent us a load of samples. We blind cupped them. We thought this was really nice. We tried it with our existing Brazil to make sure it worked, and it did.
That's you remind me of a funny story, because when you say things disappear.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I bought a whole production of Farmer, and he sent me through an email and a text saying, I have 200 bags.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, when I wanted to pick the 200 bags, he said, oh, I miscounted. There were
Yeah.
130. And
Okay.
I'm like, so you miscounted 70 bags of coffee.
Yeah.
So I think there are different ways because the market at the moment is so crazy
Yeah.
that people are just selling reserves. And,
Yes.
And that's something you're talking about, the trust in
Yeah.
the importer. I want to touch that point because house blend is a thing.
Yeah.
But you also, so you were working with multi-origin importers, but you're also working with single origin importers like us.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you work with a single origin port like ourselves and not just get everything
Yeah.
from one importer and that's it? You forget about everything.
Yes. Well, I think there are pros and cons to both sides.
Yeah.
But again, for me, it comes back to relationships. Like, we've started buying from importers here that are people I know. Like, I know them. Like, I've worked with them before. I know I can trust them.
Yeah.
Like, but also I think if you are a single origin importer working closely, like on the ground, you know what's happening. There's an impact. It's not a big organization working with loads of different places. Like, I think if I can buy a Guatemalan coffee from either somebody who is Guatemalan, like you, or is working on the ground in Guatemala, that's their focus. I'm gonna have a better idea of where the coffee comes from, the impact, like everything like that. So that's what we're doing. We're getting Guatemalan from you. We're getting our House Brazil from a Brazil origin based importer. Like, if I can do that, why would I not?
Do you think your past life as a farmer plays a role in this approach? Whenever you source coffee from farmers, do you think of what the struggles you went through?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
Even when I had my own roastery and we were talking to people and having conversations about why the coffee was so expensive, which looking back on it now, it was not expensive
at all.
At all.
It was like,
and I was, but I know how hard it is to work in agriculture, try and make a living. Like, most British farmers are, making a loss on produce. It's an industry that's propped up by subsidies, rightly or wrongly. I know how hard that is to make a living of it and do it in a developed, supposedly, nation like in the UK. So, to have all those things in a country that has maybe a lot of far less economic stability or political stability, I completely, that is in the back of my mind with a lot of stuff. And obviously there are business decisions you have to make and stuff. So it's not, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but having gone to origin, even Brazil, which is, an origin that probably has less of the issues, producers there are facing exactly the same issues as my mates who still farm here. Next generations, being able to get staff, sustainability, climate change. There's so many similarities. And getting to have those conversations face to face with producers through my very, very bad Portuguese and their far better English. You get there's so much similarities. I could have different conversations with, because it is all farming.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of romanticism happens in the special coffee industry, but whether it's a farmer in Guatemala or a farmer in Brazil, they're farming coffee because it's a crop that works best on their land, that makes them the most money.
Exactly.
For the most part. And a lot of them, we went to farms in Brazil that had cows. And I was like, oh, great. I'm a cattle man. I will chat. And they're like, oh, yeah, we've got 600 cows. And you're like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. So there's so much similarity there. That's the thing that I think links me. When I left farming, I worried that, I've got to completely start again. But it's the same thing. It's an agricultural product.
Okay.
There's so much similarity that runs through everything I've done, from working part-time at a chocolate factory in South Wales with my friend to agriculture to coffee. It's all linked,
Yes.
There's a common thread of food and drink production.
I think what you're saying is very powerful, and so because you have the background of farming and you see that the word that you use, romanticism. I love that because we see a picture of a farmer,
Mhm.
and we don't see what's happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Which is a lot of. I was interviewing a farmer, and he was saying, "I don't have a schedule. I'm here Mondays. I'm here Sundays. I'm
Yep.
here at 6 a.m. I'm here
Yeah,
at
yeah,
10
yeah.
p.m."
Mhm.
And that's the reality. That it's not enough his job. You're not going at 9, leaving at 5, and you forget about everything at 6.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so I think that's also why farmers getting paid more right now. It also I can't understand why they go for the highest bidder, because
Mhm.
they're producing a crop that they just want to sell it
Yeah.
as the most expensive thing. And takes me to the next question, which is relationships with farmers. You
Yeah.
mentioned that you're working with a producer that you met at some point, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like our House Brazil, we bought coffee from my friend's mum.
Okay.
Like, so
Yes.
you know, things like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So
And with those relationship, with those coffees,
yeah.
obviously there's a price range, right?
Yes.
But do you kind of forget about the price, or you're very price sensitive? Let's say that your friend's mom say to you, "Look, I'm selling you a Brazilian that is a pound extra than the market."
Yeah.
Will you still go for it, or will you stop doing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like here at Rins, we are price sensitive. Like we want to be accessible. I think there is an element with the state of the coffee industry, like with me coming in, you know, we're having to communicate internally and externally to like customers and stuff. Like coffee's changing. Like
Yes.
what was an accessible coffee now might have gone up by like £4 a kilo.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing Brazil's from importers that are like 10.50 for like a community blend.
Yeah.
Like the industry's just on its head. It's so unstable that like prices have got to go up, like for businesses to survive. Like
So sorry to interrupt you. I
Yeah.
think that the problem is that 2 months ago, those 10-50 pounds
Yeah.
per kilo were 6
yeah,
50
and
a
then
kilo,
like
and they just
a
went
week
to
later,
10,
they
and I was
10.
going to 7,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like I feel like we're playing like the roulette in a casino, just hoping
Yeah.
that you land on the right
Yeah,
time
yeah.
to book your coffee. So
Yeah, and like I've been lucky. Like I've contracted things. Not in any way. I'm not like sat watching the market. I don't pay that. Like I don't do that. That's or maybe maybe a trader we work with will advise us when to buy, but like we're not buying in scale like that to you know. I've just been lucky that maybe things I've contracted at the right time. But
yeah,
some coffees are less price sensitive, some are more. Like House Espresso, especially you know like wholesale customers are feeling the squeeze. It's our biggest selling coffee, so I can't afford to put it up too much and alienate customers.
Yeah.
You know, we're very lucky that I get to have conversations with people face to face here in the espresso bar, which like when we do explain like decaf's gone up by £4. Like our retail bag's up £4.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but I'm like, this is what.
Yeah.
You know, all I can do is communicate.
Yeah.
You know, there's a global shortage. There's like I was lucky to be able to get some decaf when I've contracted it. This is what I have to pay. So it's had, you know, like some stuff's less, you know, single origins pretty less price sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm always going to look for like to make sure I've got a range of prices on the shelf for customers. But then also we get to experiment with like something a bit more interesting because you can like you know the price scale's there, but yeah, it's difficult.
That's you touch on a great point, which is one of your largest selling coffees is price sensitive.
Yes, and I think you know I can't speak for everybody, but most coffee roasters are going to be in that position.
And basically, because I think one of the and I see this a lot when I get a newspaper article in Guatemala that talks about coffee. They say a coffee in Guatemala is getting sold for €7 in Switzerland.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, a cup of coffee.
Yes,
not the main coffee
Yeah.
in the area.
Yeah.
And I also hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I traveled to, I don't know, Hawaii,
Yeah.
and they have the worst coffee bean. There's better coffee somewhere else."
Mhm.
And I'm saying, yes, but that's because the coffee is price sensitive, especially the one that you wholesale, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that, though?
But I think that's the thing. It probably comes back to like a lack of understanding of like Guatemala, perfect. You know,
Yeah.
you can get like a wash community blend, or you can get like a really high end single producer lot, but people just see Guatemalan coffee.
Yeah.
So many people, like the general consumer,
Yeah.
We can be as nerdy as we want about I'll get a Honda like all the pink on like most coffees, but like to the general consumer, they don't know what, like they might not know the difference between washing and naturals, like they don't care.
Yeah.
Like there's so much like variety and a Guatemalan coffee is going to cost more than a Brazil, because Brazil is massive. Brazil can pick mechanically, and their situation is different to Guatemala, where maybe there's higher living costs, or Mexico, where like living costs are higher, and farmers are producing like minute amount of coffee. But how do you explain that to a consumer? Like, why does this coffee cost more? Coffee costs more because cost of living is higher. Or that Ethiopia is building 2,200 meters above sea level, and it has to be picked by hand and taken to like a washing station. And there's the additional cost of like the washing process.
Yeah.
Then it's got to go from there, the logistics side of things, they've got to get to a port, and it's got to there's so much complexity in the whole chain.
Yeah.
That it's a challenge, isn't it? How do you communicate? And again, it comes back to agriculture.
Yeah.
Again, right? It's the same. Doesn't matter if the cost of production doesn't get factored in it. Like people want to pay what they want to pay.
Exactly.
Supermarket shelf, they want to pay a set amount.
Yes.
They want the best value for money, and they want it to have like high welfare.
Yeah.
But like they don't understand the cost of production, like the differences in cost of living, all that kind of stuff doesn't get.
That's very interesting.
Factored in it.
There's a set price for a bag of coffee here.
Yeah.
And it just goes backwards, right?
Yeah.
Roaster has to buy whatever fits that price.
Yep.
Importer and
Yep.
producer. And what you were saying is that we're all kind of not slave, but we're all doomed to whatever the price at the place is going to be, right? And then if they can pay that as the pay, they don't care that much. James, this is great. I mean, this conversation has been really good. I've learned a lot, actually. So thank you for this. To close it down, do you have any advice, any comments, any notes that you want to say? The podcast about people and coffee, anything around people, anything about coffee?
I think that's the thing that excites me most about coffee is people.
Okay.
Like that's been the biggest thing for me is the people, the relationships. Like, people buy from people. Like whether that is the space that you create, in your roastery or at your cafe, people come there. Maybe the coffee isn't the most important thing. They're buying from you as an individual to the stories we tell, rightly or wrongly. Like there's a conversation of like, does specialty coffee like romanticize and capitalize on the stories it produces, to sell a product? But like people buy from people. If you can communicate those stories and be like, this is why this coffee costs what it does, and this is the impact. Whether it's by the bag, like this is by buying this bag of coffee off our shelf, you are helping to, put like kids in that community through school, because like you're supporting, and the exporter puts that money back into schemes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people buy from people. People are invested in these stories, or people who work in it, or their friendly neighborhood barista. Like that's the thing. Don't forget about people.
Okay.
That's the key in coffee. That's what makes it special for me anyway.
That's great.
The people I get to work with. Customers that I get to have conversations with. Like, even when I have my own roastery and like talk about mental health, the biggest thing we did was like incredibly privileged conversations about mental health that coffee opened up for me to have. All about people.
That's beautiful. How can they reach you? If they want to talk to you, they want to find you.
Do people want to follow me?
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to talk to you, ask you a question.
You can follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
At Farmboy Place.
Yeah.
Don't expect a lot of coffee content. I exclusively post Lord of the Rings memes.
Perfect. Thank you, James. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.